Hey YouTube, I'm Alex and welcome back to my channel, King of Random. Today I got a random video for you. We're going to cook a ribeye steak, but we are not going to do it in a traditional reverse sear or grilling method. We will be using a sous vide cooking style, which is a French culinary technique. That's a water bath for the meat at a fixed temperature, and the outcome is phenomenal. You have a evenly cooked gradient across the piece of meat. Great flavor from the marinade that you put on it. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to make a sous vide ribeye. For this video, you will need a couple of items. You will obviously need your steak. This is a USDA ribeye steak that I have acquired from Wegmans. I find that their meat is usually pretty good and very tasty. As you can see, you have a beautiful marbling across the meat, which is going to make it very juicy and tender in combination with the sous vide cooking technique. You'll need a knife just to clean up some fat renderings. And I predominantly only use Montreal steak seasoning, which is a combination of salt, garlic, a whole bunch of spices that taste very good in a steak. And when I place this into my sous vide bag, I have some truffle finishing butter that I will put on top of the steak into the sous vide bag when I go to seal it and prepare it for the water bath. If you're not aware, is a sous vide machine. Essentially, all it is an electric coil that heats up, and it has a thermostat on the top to which you set the duration and temperature for which you want your water bath to remain for the duration of the cooking session. You would stick this in a pot, turn it on, and that's pretty much how sous vide works. It's going to bring the water to temperature. It'll make sure it doesn't go above that temperature or below that temperature. So in essence, when the meat gets to that temperature, it's pretty much done. It just needs to be taken out, put a little bit of sear on it, and it's ready for serving. This is a gourmet sous vide. It's a little bit on the cheaper end. I purchased it from Amazon, but you can get these anywhere from, I don't know, $60 to they have really fancy ones. They cost hundreds of dollars, but for my needs, I find this works just fine. We will also need a vacuum sealing bag. This is not necessary, but I prefer to do this under a vacuum seal. It just keeps everything cleaner, contained. You can just get a Ziploc bag and kind of wrap it around the edge of the pot or the container you're cooking it in, but I prefer just to put everything in a vacuum seal bag, vacuum seal it, and you're all set. Finally, you, not required, need a vacuum sealer. The way this works is your meat would go inside the bag with all your seasoning or sauces or whatever it is you're cooking. You would open the lid, you would put in the bag with whatever you are cooking, you would close it. Essentially, you would at that point suck out all the air out of the bag, and at that point you would seal it, making it nice, contained, and not messy. So, not a requirement, but I definitely prefer this method because it just it's much cleaner, and actually it marinates the meat because it pulls all the flavors and the spices into the meat itself. So I find it preferable method. Okay, now that we've shown you the ingredients and items that you need, let's get this steak going. Okay, let's recap. We have prepared our steak. We have unpackaged it, washed it, seasoned it with our seasoning and our truffle butter, and then we have proceeded to put it in the vacuum seal bag and seal it. Now it's ready to go for its water bath. So let's get that ready and get this sucker cooking. So I have prepared a pot. We've placed our sous vide cooking unit inside. So let's go ahead and calibrate our thermostat so we can put our steak in and get the water all to temperature. We're going to proceed by holding the power button. That turns the sous vide on. There's a little wheel in the front that you turn and that adjusts your water bath temperature. We're going to cook this at about 123 degrees Fahrenheit. I know that sounds a little low for steak, but you'll see why, because we're going to finish it afterwards, so it's going to receive a little bit more heat from the pan or a blowtorch. So you don't want to go too high, because then your steak may be a little bit overdone. So I'm going to hit it at 123 and we'll adjust accordingly if we need to from there. Then we hit our set button. We are going to set the duration that we want this to go for. We're going to cook this steak approximately for 3 hours in the water bath. It doesn't need to be attended. We just set the temperature and we walk away. That's the best thing about sous vide. Not a lot of effort involved in the process. Then all we do is we hit the power button again and this bad boy is going to turn on. Then all we do is take our meat and just gently place it inside the water bath. And that's it. This is going to cook for 3 hours, and I'll come back and show you how we finish this bad boy up, and then we'll have some steak. We're going to cut this guy up and show you what it looks like inside. Stay tuned. So, an important matter. How do you get that beautiful crispy crust on the steak without overcooking it? The answer is definitely a lot of heat and quick heat. There are several methods of getting that beautiful crust on a steak without cooking the inside further than it should be or raising the temperature. One of those methods is using a blowtorch to sear the steak. Now, my wife does not like this method, so we're probably not going to use this today indoors, but I promise you in the future I will show you how to sear a steak with a blowtorch. Next is your traditional cast iron method of transferring heat very quickly. You heat it up. You put it on the stove, it heats up, it pulls in a lot of heat into itself, and I also have a cast iron press. At that point you put the steak down, you press it down with the hot press, and you typically get a beautiful crust very quickly. That's the method that we're going to use today, so stay tuned, we're almost there. Our sous vide is still cooking in our water bath, but we're getting very close. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so there we have it. Our steak is ready to go. It's been sous videing for about 3 hours, 3.5. We let it go a little bit longer. So right now we just have to dab it dry and give it a nice seared crust, and at that point we'll be ready to enjoy. We don't want any moisture, we want this to be as dry as possible. That's going to give us the best crust that we can possibly get from the heat. So nice and dry, and then placed directly. So we're getting our cast iron griddle nice and hot, very hot actually. We're going to give it a couple minutes here, and then we'll be able to put the steak on each side, and we'll put the cast iron press on it as well to help it a little bit quicker. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful steak, nice little crust on top, good color on both sides. So we're just gonna let this sit and rest for a few minutes, let all the juices spread through the meat, and we're gonna cut it open and let you take a look. Okay, let's cut our steak and take a look what we have in the middle. Beautiful. As you see, there's no gradient. The meat is cooked evenly through. You have a medium rare, and this looks delicious. Let's try a bite. Wow. Tender, flavorful, juicy. If you're gonna make a steak, make it a sous vide steak. So guys, as you see, my steak is ready. My wife's making mashed potatoes and some mushrooms for garnishing this. I'm super hungry, super excited to eat this, so I'm gonna let you go. Please subscribe to my videos, hit the notification button, and I look forward to making more videos like this for you guys. Later.